The arrogant manager snatched the faded cap. The dark fabric read Marine Veteran. He threw it hard. The hat splashed into the deep water hazard. Preston pointed his thick finger. "Call the police immediately. Please get this man off the green right now." The old man stood perfectly still. He watched his proud hat sink. Preston smiled a cold, smug smile. And this is where the story begins to turn. Preston made a serious mistake today. He had no idea about the truth waiting beneath the surface. The silent man owned everything. He owned every blade of grass here, and before the morning ended, everyone on that course would learn the difference between looking powerful and being honorable. 2 hours earlier, the morning sun barely touched the quiet suburban street. Elias Thorne stood alone inside his modest kitchen. He was 65 years old. He maintained the rigid posture of a lifelong military man. He stared silently at his wooden kitchen table. A fragile piece of history rested on the scarred wood. It was a single sheet of heavy parchment paper. The edges were deeply yellowed from a century of time. Faded black ink spelled out precise legal terms from 1924. This was not just a simple piece of paper. This was a legally binding American land deed. It represented ultimate ownership. It represented a sacred family legacy. Property rights mean everything in this country. Land is the ultimate economic equalizer. He folded the old parchment with extreme care. He slid it into his front chest pocket. Elias did not dress like a wealthy landowner today. He did not put on a tailored suit. He did not wear an expensive silk tie. He pulled on a faded green polo shirt. The worn shirt lacked any designer logo. He stepped into a pair of worn khaki trousers. The tough fabric was frayed slightly at the seams. He slowly laced up his old tactical military boots. The thick black leather was permanently scuffed. He had proudly marched through some of the hardest days of his life in boots like those. He had honorably served his nation as a Marine Corps colonel. He knew the heavy price of American freedom. He understood immense personal sacrifice. Finally, he reached for his favorite piece of everyday clothing. It was a dark blue baseball cap. The front proudly read, Marine Corps Veteran in bold golden letters. He pulled the stiff brim down low over his eyes. He looked at his quiet reflection in the hallway mirror. He saw a man who had survived hard overseas deployments. He saw a silent warrior. He demanded no public applause. He grabbed his old metal car keys from the counter. He walked out his front door into the cool morning air. He was heading straight to the most exclusive location in town. The famous Oak Ridge Country Club sat just a few miles away. It was a well-known retreat for the local wealthy crowd. It was a place obsessed with perfect appearances. It cared only about status and bank accounts. Elias was not going there to play a relaxed round of golf. He did not care about the perfect 18-hole course. He cared only about the rich dirt underneath the perfectly manicured grass. He cared about the sacred dirt his late father had legally purchased. He climbed slowly into his old rusted pickup truck. The engine roared loudly as he turned the metal key. He gripped the worn steering wheel with severely scarred hands. He felt a deep sense of monumental duty today. The wealthy country club members thought they owned that entire valley. They thought their expensive membership fees bought them untouchable comfort. They truly believed they controlled the sacred ground they walked on daily. And this is where the story begins to turn. Elias was driving there to uncover the truth. He wanted to look behind their polite smiles. He wanted to personally inspect the true character of the current club management. He needed to know if they actually deserved to stay on his beloved family land. The binding 99-year lease officially expired this very morning. The ultimate silent landlord was finally coming home. The wrought iron gates of Oak Ridge Country Club swung open. They revealed an entirely different and very exclusive world. The perfect parking lot resembled an expensive luxury showroom. Sleek silver Porsches sat parked in designated premium spots. Polished black Mercedes sedans perfectly aligned the paved rows. Elias steered his rusted pickup truck into this wealth. The loud, rattling engine shattered the carefully maintained silence. He parked his ancient truck between two luxury vehicles. The sharp visual contrast was truly striking to witness. His faded Marine bumper sticker looked entirely alien here. Wealthy patrons walking toward the clubhouse immediately stopped moving. They openly stared at the old pickup truck. They whispered while shooting judgmental glances at him. Elias stepped out of the loudly creaking old truck. He took a very long breath of morning air. He ignored the harsh whispers of the wealthy. He began walking purposefully toward the legendary 18th hole. The sprawling championship golf course stretched out beautifully ahead. It looked exactly like a vast, perfect green ocean. Every single blade of grass was cut perfectly uniform. Tall, ancient oak trees provided generous pockets of shade. The smooth golf cart paths wound beautifully through nature. The atmosphere projected an aura of quiet privilege. Distant sprinklers hissed quietly across the perfect rolling fairways. They sprayed perfect arcs of sparkling water over grass. It was a stunningly beautiful piece of American landscape. This area was set apart from the everyday world. He finally reached the edge of the 18th hole. It sat right near the main stone clubhouse terrace. A wide, crystal-clear water hazard flawlessly reflected light. Delicate white sand traps bordered the bright putting surface. They looked exactly like carefully placed powdered white sugar. Elias did not look at the expensive waving flagstick. He did not calculate the exact distance to win. He looked deeply into the rich, dark soil underneath. He remembered his hard-working grandfather purchasing this exact valley. It was just rough, untamed wilderness back in time. He remembered his father fiercely protecting this sacred investment. They held the land through decades of economic hardship. This spectacular luxury playground was built on their sacrifices. He stood silently absorbing the profound historical family weight. He surveyed this beautiful and highly contested land. The morning dew still clung gently to the greens. A few early golfers played quietly in the distance. Their expensive titanium clubs struck small white golf balls. The sharp metallic sounds echoed softly across the valley. Elias folded his heavily scarred hands together very respectfully. He felt the deeply rooted connection to this earth. This specific location meant everything to his proud bloodline. He prepared himself mentally for the inevitable ugly confrontation. The peaceful silence of the beautiful morning was ending. 19-year-old Chloe drove her beverage cart slowly. She moved along the winding paved pathway. The bright morning sun reflected off iced water bottles. She was a local college student. She worked grueling double shifts this entire summer. Heavy student loans weighed heavily on her young mind. The balance on her student account sat in the back of her mind every day. She desperately needed generous cash tips to survive. Wealthy club members exclusively funded her fall semester. She hated the cold country club environment. The rich members often treated her like invisible furniture. She knew the strict unwritten rules perfectly well. You never speak first. You always smile politely. They snap their fingers at you for service. She swallowed her daily pride to pay her bills. She nervously scanned the 18th hole today. She looked eagerly for thirsty morning golfers. Instead, she noticed an older man. He stood alone near the water hazard. He did not look like an arrogant financial executive. He wore faded clothes. He wore tactical boots. She immediately recognized the golden lettering on his cap. Her older brother currently served in the Marine Corps. She felt instant, deep respect for this quiet stranger. She stopped her electric cart to watch him. Elias ignored the distant mechanical hum. He slowly dropped down onto his right knee. The damp morning dew soaked his faded trousers. He reached out with his heavily scarred hand. He brushed his thick fingers across the green surface. The dark soil felt rich. It felt deeply familiar beneath his rough fingertips. He closed his dark eyes. He breathed in the fresh morning air. The smell of ancient oak trees transported him. He remembered his hardworking father clearly. His father stood on this exact dirt decades ago. He remembered the grueling physical labor. They fought desperately to keep this sprawling property. The sprawling estate spanned hundreds of beautiful acres. The rolling hills held countless proud family secrets. He loved this specific piece of American land. He protected it fiercely in his loyal heart. It was a deeply personal moment. It was a profoundly quiet, spiritual connection. He silently honored the blood and immense sweat. That ultimate sacrifice secured this American dream. But this quiet moment ended suddenly. It was completely shattered in a matter of seconds. A sleek white golf cart came screaming around the corner. The customized motorized vehicle accelerated dangerously fast. The angry driver slammed his foot onto the heavy brake. The expensive rubber tires locked completely. The luxury cart skidded sideways across the perfect fairway. Sharp wheels tore deep gashes into the expensive turf. Wet dirt flew recklessly into the humid air. Preston Sterling stepped out with furious energy. He was 42 years old. He possessed a deeply arrogant posture. A pastel pink cashmere sweater hung over his shoulders. His spotless white leather shoes gleamed blindingly. A solid gold Rolex watch flashed sharply. He aggressively slammed the cart door shut. He adjusted his expensive designer sunglasses. He was the executive club manager. He truly worshipped his wealthy social class. He possessed a habit of looking down on anyone who did not fit his polished world. He dismissed anyone who did not look wealthy enough to belong. He wanted to make a public scene. He wanted to assert his absolute dominance today. Preston marched aggressively toward the kneeling veteran, his flushed face twisted into open disgust. He looked down at the faded polo shirt. He stared at the muddy military boots. He instantly decided this man was worthless. He pointed a perfectly manicured finger at Elias. "What exactly are you doing here?" Preston demanded loudly. "Who gave you permission to step onto my course? Do you know how much this property is worth? Are you lost? Or are you looking for the public bus stop?" The cold questions fired rapidly like sharp bullets. Do you possess a premium platinum membership card? Did you sneak past the front security gate? Are you here to steal used golf balls? Why are you touching my grass with your muddy hands? He raised his voice even louder. He wanted the distant golfers to hear him perfectly. "Answer me right now!" Preston screamed angrily. "Do you understand me or not?" Elias slowly stood up to his towering height. He looked down at the angry, red-faced manager. He did not answer a single insulting question. He stared directly into Preston's furious eyes. His broad shoulders did not flinch once. He absorbed the sharp insults completely. Pay close attention to this moment. The silence of Elias Thorne was not sudden fear. It was the highly calculated patience of a soldier. Elias maintained his towering posture against the bright morning sky. He did not offer a frantic apology to the furious manager. He did not quickly scramble off the perfect green grass. He simply stood there with his arms resting comfortably at his sides. He watched the younger man throw a small display of anger. Preston was entirely accustomed to instant shaken obedience from everyone around him. He expected the older man to immediately bow his head in deep shame. He wanted the poor intruder to beg frantically for basic forgiveness. Elias denied him that cold satisfaction entirely. The older man just stared with deeply dark and penetrating eyes. He let the harsh insults hang awkwardly in the humid air. Pay close attention to this moment. His complete silence was definitely not born of fear. It was the cold and calculated patience of a seasoned hunter waiting for the perfect strike. Preston scoffed loudly at the unresponsive veteran. He clearly mistook the quiet composure for simple ignorance. He stepped aggressively closer to Elias. The heavy scent of expensive designer cologne hit the fresh morning breeze. It masked the natural smell of the ancient oak trees. "Listen to me very closely," Preston hissed with pure contempt. "You are currently standing on highly restricted private property. This is the prestigious Oak Ridge Country Club. This is an exclusive sanctuary reserved strictly for wealthy paying members. We cater exclusively to successful corporate executives and prominent community leaders. This is definitely not some public park. You cannot just wander in here looking for a free handout. You do not belong anywhere near this wealthy zip code. You are actively polluting my perfect visual aesthetic." He waved his manicured hands frantically at the beautiful surrounding landscape. He acted like he personally sculpted the rolling hills himself. The stark visual contrast between the two angry men was painfully obvious. Preston aggressively adjusted his expensive pastel cashmere sweater. The heavy, solid gold Rolex watch caught the bright morning sunlight. The thick luxury timepiece flashed blindingly across the green grass. It was a highly shallow display of heavy financial privilege. Elias remained entirely grounded in his faded green polo shirt. His muddy military boots stayed firmly planted on the soft turf. Preston sneered down at those old scuffed boots with intense hatred. "Do you have any actual concept of real money?" Preston mocked coldly. "Our basic initiation fee is $200,000. That is just to walk through the front dining room doors. A man wearing old secondhand clothes could never afford to even breathe the air here. Those shoes cost more than anything you could ever bring through our doors." Elias absorbed every single harsh word without blinking once. His calm expression never changed or faltered. He was actively giving Preston enough rope to hang himself permanently. Preston completely misread the quiet situation again. He felt an intense surge of false, absolute power. He placed his perfectly manicured hand squarely on his hips. "I want you to turn around right now," Preston ordered sharply. "I want you to march straight back to whatever rusted garbage can you drove here. You will leave my beautiful championship golf course immediately. If I ever see your unkind face near my perfect gates again, I will personally make sure you are removed. I will make sure you spend a long time regretting this moment." Elias still said nothing. He simply reached a heavily scarred hand toward his front chest pocket. The tension in the air stretched dangerously thin. Chloe gripped her steering wheel very tightly. Her young knuckles turned white. She watched the ugly scene unfold nearby. She looked closely at the silent older man. She noticed the faded golden emblem clearly. It was a proud Marine Corps pin. Her older brother wore that exact pin. He served bravely in the infantry overseas. She felt physically sick deep inside her stomach. This wealthy manager was relentlessly bullying him. She could not just sit there watching him. She refused to remain silent today. She made a brave personal choice. She stepped off her electric beverage cart. She reached deep into the heavy white cooler. She grabbed a cold plastic water bottle. Freezing condensation dripped down the smooth sides. She walked slowly onto the perfect green grass. Her young heart hammered loudly against her ribs. She felt deeply small and deeply vulnerable. She stopped right next to Elias Thorne. She ignored the furious executive manager. She extended the cold drink forward slowly. "Sir, please take some cold water today." Her soft voice trembled with nervous energy. She offered him basic human kindness right now. She offered him profound and quiet respect. Preston snapped his angry head around very fast. His arrogant face flushed dark crimson red. He glared coldly at the young college student. How dare she interrupt his wealthy power trip? He swung his right arm outward. He smacked the clear plastic bottle very hard. He hit it with force. The heavy bottle flew from her shaking hand. It hit the firm ground hard. The thin plastic cracked wide open almost instantly. Ice-cold water splashed across the green turf. The sudden action shocked the quiet morning. He stepped aggressively forward into her personal space. He pointed a sharp finger near her wet eyes. "Are you seriously serving this man?" Preston hissed with cold malice. "You are just a replaceable hourly worker. Do you want to pay your expensive college tuition? I know all about your heavy student loans. You desperately need this little job. I will fire you right this very second. I will ruin your entire fall semester permanently. Get back to your little cart right now." Chloe stumbled backward in pure shock. She looked down at the wet-cut grass. Hot tears quickly filled her kind brown eyes. She wrapped her shaking arms around herself. She slowly retreated back to her beverage cart. She felt speechless and deeply humiliated. Preston smiled a proud and cold smile. He seemed to enjoy making vulnerable people feel small. He felt like an untouchable man standing right here. Pay close attention to what happens next. He forgot about the quiet military veteran. He forgot who he was actually fighting. Elias watched the young girl cry silently. The old soldier stopped reaching for his pocket. His dark eyes turned dangerously cold. The peaceful summer morning was officially over. Preston reached deep into his expensive tailored pants. His manicured fingers grasped a thick silver money clip. He peeled off several crumpled $1 bills. He did not hand them over with any basic respect. He aggressively threw the crumpled green cash directly at Elias. The paper money fluttered softly in the warm morning wind. The bills landed scattered around the scuffed military boots. "Pick it up," Preston commanded with cold arrogance. "Take that little charity and walk away right now. Did you come here begging for rich people's leftovers? Go catch a public bus back to wherever you came from. We do not run a public charity kitchen here." The surrounding wealthy golfers paused their expensive games entirely. They watched the humiliating public scene unfold from a safe distance. Nobody stepped forward to stop the public humiliation. They silently accepted the country club hierarchy. Preston enjoyed the silent submission of his wealthy audience. Preston suddenly noticed the dark blue cap on Elias's head. The bright golden Marine Corps veteran lettering caught his angry eye. His cold face twisted into a deeply mocking and ugly sneer. He truly hated seeing proud military symbols on a poor man. "Do you really think that old hat earns you special respect?" Preston laughed harshly into the quiet air. "Did you buy that old thing at a local thrift store? Are you actively trying to steal real military valor today? Genuine American decorated veterans do not trespass on wealthy private property. They do not wander around begging rich people for loose change. You are an absolute public embarrassment to that noble uniform. Take that ridiculous fake hat off your head." In American culture, disrespecting a military veteran is a deeply painful insult. It crosses a serious and unbreakable societal red line. People had served and sacrificed wearing that exact same honorable emblem. Preston treated that immense sacrifice like a terrible joke. Elias looked calmly down at the scattered dollar bills. He looked back up at the deeply arrogant country club manager. He did not kneel down to gather the loose paper cash. He did not raise his deep voice in sudden blinding anger. How could someone be so blind to reality? The old Marine had faced real danger overseas. He had survived nights when the sky shook in distant deserts. A loud corporate bully in a pink cashmere sweater meant nothing. Elias felt a profound sense of quiet pity for Preston. The younger man was blinded by his polished image of wealth. He falsely worshipped shallow luxury items instead of actual human character. He valued a shiny gold Rolex over basic human decency. He thought money gave him the ultimate right to destroy people. His shiny white golf shoes stood on borrowed confidence. Elias knew the bitter confrontation had finally reached its peak. He needed to end this small theatrical performance immediately. He slowly raised his heavily scarred right hand. He moved it deliberately toward his faded green polo shirt. He aimed for the small breast pocket resting over his heart. He prepared to reveal his absolute and undeniable legal authority. He planned to show Preston the old yellowed parchment deed. Pay close attention to this moment. Preston completely misread this slow and peaceful physical movement. He stupidly thought the old man was reaching for something dangerous. He thought the poor veteran was finally about to confront him. The arrogant manager panicked in that brief split second. His fear flared up bright and fast. He decided to strike first to protect his fragile ego. The tense situation escalated beyond any rational human control. Preston stepped aggressively forward into the personal space of the veteran. Preston lunged forward without any warning. He closed the physical distance instantly. He reached out his manicured hand. His fingers grabbed the faded fabric. He snatched the dark blue cap. He ripped it off Elias's head. The sudden movement was sharp and disrespectful. Elias did not step backward once. He stood his ground perfectly still. Preston held the worn cap high. He glared at the golden letters. The Marine veteran embroidery shined brightly. He hated that proud military symbol. He wanted to humiliate the veteran. He wanted to break his spirit. Preston scoffed with pure disgust. He turned toward the water hazard. He pulled his right arm back. He threw the cap very hard. The hat sailed through the humid air. It spun rapidly over the grass. It flew toward the deep pond. The entire golf course went quiet. It was a dead, heavy silence. The distant birds stopped singing completely. The wind died down to nothing. Nobody spoke a single word anywhere. Everyone watched the cap fall downward. It hit the calm blue water. A soft splash echoed across the green. The sharp sound cut through the silence. The dark blue fabric floated briefly. Then it started sinking into the mud. A symbol of service sank beneath the surface. The ripples faded into nothingness quickly. The water surface turned perfectly smooth. Preston smirked with cold satisfaction. He felt victorious right now. He thought he won this battle. He felt like an absolute king. Elias did not chase his hat. He slowly withdrew his scarred hand. He pulled something from his pocket. It was not a dangerous weapon. It was folded yellow parchment paper. The ancient ink looked faded. The thick paper looked very fragile. Preston laughed aloud at the item. He pointed at the old document. "Is that a fake membership card?" Preston asked with dripping sarcasm. "Did you print that garbage yourself? Do you think I am stupid? You cannot forge your way inside. This is a wealthy private sanctuary. We do not accept fake passes. We do not accept excuses. You are just a liar. You do not belong here today. Put that trash away right now." Preston reached for his black belt. He unclipped his tactical radio. He raised it to his mouth. He pressed the transmission button down. Static hissed loudly into the silence. "Security, contact the local police department." Preston barked the strict order clearly. "We have a trespasser. He is trespassing on hole 18. He is refusing to leave voluntarily. He is causing trouble for our staff. He is disturbing our paying members. Send officers down here immediately. I want him removed from the property." He released the small radio button. The plastic device clicked shut loudly. He clipped it back onto his belt. He crossed his arms over his chest. What happened next changed everything. Preston felt deeply powerful and untouchable. He believed the police protected him. He thought the law served wealth. He assumed the old man was nobody. He expected a quick, harsh arrest. He anticipated a very satisfying show. He wanted to watch Elias suffer. He wanted to see him humiliated. But he made a serious miscalculation. He severely misunderstood that yellowed paper. It was not a fake club pass. It was the original land deed. The old veteran owned this valley. He owned every single grass blade. Preston was standing on his dirt. The arrogant manager was completely unaware. He just set the consequences of his own choices in motion. Elias did not try to flee. He did not beg for mercy. He did not show any panic. He just watched the arrogant manager. He watched his cap slowly sink. He held the sacred deed firmly. He waited for the police sirens. The trap was now set. Preston had locked himself inside it. The arrogant manager built his own downfall. He destroyed his comfortable executive career. He ruined his shiny public reputation. The silent hunter waited very patiently. The storm was coming very fast. Justice was driving toward the gates. The moment of truth was approaching rapidly. The wealthy country club would shatter. The polished kingdom would fall today. The distant wail of police sirens pierced the quiet summer morning. The sharp noise shattered the peaceful country club atmosphere completely. Bright red and blue emergency lights flashed brilliantly against the ancient oak trees. A heavy police cruiser rolled quickly down the paved golf cart path. The heavy vehicle ignored the strict driving rules of the perfect course. It swerved sharply around a perfect white sand trap. The car slammed its heavy brakes near the edge of the 18th green. Thick rubber tires crushed the expensive, perfectly manicured grass. The wealthy golfers stopped their games entirely to watch the dramatic scene unfold. They expected a quick public arrest right here. Preston Sterling smiled a wide and triumphant smile. He felt an immense surge of absolute vindication and pure power. He aggressively smoothed the wrinkles from his expensive pastel cashmere sweater. He wanted to look like the brave protector of the wealthy crowd. He eagerly stepped forward to personally greet the arriving law enforcement vehicle. He instantly transformed himself into a wronged, innocent victim. He pointed an accusatory, perfectly manicured finger directly at the silent older man. He wanted the entire gathering crowd to witness his ultimate, absolute authority. He wanted Elias utterly humiliated in front of all the rich members. The heavy police car door swung open with a very loud, harsh metallic creak. The stern local county sheriff stepped out onto the damp morning grass. He wore a crisp, dark uniform and a highly polished silver badge. His right hand rested instinctively near his tactical utility belt. He unclipped a pair of thick silver handcuffs with a sharp snap. The metallic clicking sound echoed ominously across the quiet water hazard. The sheriff possessed a deeply serious and hardened professional expression. He scanned the tense scene, looking for the reported sudden threat. Preston rushed toward the tall police officer with frantic, dramatic energy. "Sheriff, I am deeply glad you arrived here so quickly today," Preston announced loudly. His booming voice carried easily across the open green fairway. "This unknown man trespassed onto our very exclusive private property. He bothered my young female staff member without cause. I explicitly ordered him to leave the premises multiple times today. He stubbornly refused my lawful commands and acted extremely hostile toward me. He clearly poses a serious problem to our paying wealthy members. Put those metal handcuffs on his wrists immediately. Drag this unkind criminal away to a patrol car today." Elias Thorne remained perfectly still in his exact original standing position. He ignored the police presence and the flashing emergency lights. He did not desperately raise his empty hands to prove his innocence. He did not shout frantic denials or beg the officer for basic mercy. This profound silence was the ultimate form of delayed psychological gratification. He simply let the arrogant manager weave a wide web of inescapable lies. He allowed Preston to construct a permanent public record of his unkindness. Elias quietly held the folded yellow parchment in his scarred right hand. He stared directly at the approaching law enforcement officer. Pay close attention to this crucial part of the story. Preston expected the seasoned police officer to blindly follow his orders. He assumed the expensive country club zip code guaranteed his certain victory. He eagerly anticipated watching the poor military veteran be removed in front of everyone. He truly believed he had won this small power struggle completely and permanently. He thought his immense financial privilege made him an untouchable man. The tension in the warm air became unbearable for everyone watching. The entire crowd held their collective breath, waiting for the metal cuffs. The agonizing suspense reached its maximum breaking point here. The seasoned county sheriff ignored the frantic club manager. He walked steadily past the shouting man. His pink sweater looked ridiculous. Heavy silver handcuffs dangled loosely. He approached the quiet veteran. Elias stood perfectly still on the green grass. Preston trailed closely behind the advancing law enforcement officer. The arrogant manager expected a sudden arrest. He eagerly waited for the satisfying click of metal. He wanted the older man placed in the back of a patrol car, but the tall sheriff suddenly stopped his forward momentum. He froze completely. His dark eyes locked onto the silent older man. The police officer squinted against the bright morning sunlight. He recognized that rigid military posture immediately. He recognized those penetrating eyes perfectly. A wave of profound respect washed over his face. He remembered the harsh desert heat. He remembered the endless nights. He remembered the dangerous missions. They truly trusted each other. They survived the hardest days of their lives together overseas. Preston noticed the sudden hesitation from the officer. He grew impatient. He hated this unexpected lack of action. He stepped forward aggressively. He clapped his soft hands together loudly. He demanded absolute obedience from the local civil servant. He pointed a shaking finger at the old scuffed boots. He highlighted the faded green shirt. It had no designer logos. He loudly repeated his fabricated story of harassment. He demanded that the trespasser be restrained immediately. He threatened to call the local city mayor. He thought his immense country club wealth commanded the police. He believed his expensive clothing dictated the absolute legal truth. He assumed the quiet veteran was just a helpless victim. He severely underestimated the profound bonds of true military brotherhood. He never understood deep loyalty. That loyalty is forged in actual combat. The county sheriff turned his head slowly toward Preston. He glared at the arrogant manager. His eyes held quiet disappointment. That single dark look instantly silenced the wealthy executive. The sheriff slowly holstered his silver handcuffs. The metallic clicking sound echoed across the green. He stepped directly in front of the older veteran. He ignored the wealthy audience gathering near the clubhouse. The police officer brought his black boots sharply together. The thick rubber soles slapped loudly against the soft turf. He straightened his spine into a perfectly rigid posture. He rolled his broad shoulders back with physical pride. He slowly raised his right hand toward his forehead. He delivered a flawless and crisp, tactical military salute. His stern face radiated real loyalty. He showed deep respect. He was greeting his former combat commander today. "Good morning, Colonel Thorne," the sheriff announced loudly to everyone. "It is an absolute honor to see you again today, sir." The official military title dropped like a heavy anvil. It echoed clearly across the perfect 18-hole golf course. The words completely shattered the quiet summer morning atmosphere instantly. The sheriff kept his right hand raised in perfect salute. He previously served as a young scout under Elias overseas. He owed his entire life to this quiet older man. Elias bravely carried him through a dangerous ambush. The sheriff would never disrespect his heroic former commander. He stood perfectly rigid there. He waited for the old veteran now. The entire wealthy country club audience froze in absolute shock. Expensive titanium golf clubs dropped onto the soft green grass. Preston Sterling felt the ground drop beneath his shoes. His arrogant brain malfunctioned. He could not process this impossible reality. The supposed trespasser was actually a highly decorated military commander. Preston felt the hot blood drain from his face. His cold smirk melted into pure, pale terror. His perfectly manicured hands began shaking uncontrollably. The pastel pink cashmere sweater suddenly looked out of place. The gold Rolex watch felt heavy and worthless. His entire polished kingdom of elitist power crumbled into dust. He had just harshly insulted a revered American decorated veteran. He had thrown a sacred military cap into muddy water. He realized his serious mistake with sickening physical clarity. The delayed truth landed in front of the watching crowd. The bully was stripped of his fake armor. Elias Thorne looked proudly at the saluting county police officer. He recognized the brave young scout immediately. They served in the exact same infantry unit. He slowly raised his own heavily scarred right hand. He returned the crisp military salute with profound, quiet dignity. The power dynamic of the entire scene flipped. The arrogant country club manager was speechless. His professional downfall started right here on this perfectly manicured golf course today. Elias lowered his scarred hand slowly. He ended the rigid military salute and turned toward the trembling manager. He held out the yellowed parchment. The bright sunlight hit the paper, making the fragile document look ancient. Preston stared blankly at the faded ink. He hoped it was a fake pass, silently hoping the man was mistaken. But Elias ignored the arrogant executive entirely. He handed it directly to the sheriff. "Read the top line," Elias instructed. His voice carried quiet, absolute authority. The sheriff took the fragile document and handled it with extreme care. He adjusted his vision against the harsh morning glare. He cleared his throat very loudly. The silence felt heavy now. "This is an official land lease," the sheriff read aloud. His deep voice carried strict legal weight. "It is dated exactly 99 years ago. The original grantor is the Thorn Trust. The designated property boundary covers 300 acres. It includes the main clubhouse and covers all 18 championship golf holes." Preston physically staggered backward in pure shock. He looked exactly like he was punched hard in the chest. The expensive pastel sweater slipped down and fell off his slumping shoulders. He shook his head in frantic denial. That fragile paper could not possibly be real. Oak Ridge Country Club was a wealthy institution. They owned everything in this extremely wealthy town. They dictated the strict local social rules for everyone. Pay close attention to this moment. Preston was about to realize the truth waiting beneath the surface. He was not the powerful master of this domain. He was just a small tenant about to be legally removed. Elias took one deliberate step forward. He walked directly toward the shaking manager. "My grandfather bought this specific valley," Elias stated. "He bought it when it was pure dirt, then leased this rough land to your wealthy founders. They wanted a private luxury playground to easily escape the real working world. They spent millions building these beautiful green fairways, but they never actually purchased a single dirt grain. They only rented the temporary privilege to walk here. Your wealthy corporation is just a temporary guest. You built a polished kingdom on my family legacy. Read the final expiration clause," Elias ordered sharply. The silent sheriff looked down at the old paper. The commercial lease officially expired this morning. It ended at exactly 8 o'clock. Elias slowly lifted his left arm up. He checked his old black military watch. The glass face was heavily scratched and worn. "It is currently 8:15, Elias announced quietly. The harsh mathematical reality hit Preston hard. The multi-million-dollar club possessed zero legal standing right now. They had no valid operating contract for this sprawling property. Preston was standing illegally on private land without a current lease. He had just called the local police. He demanded they arrest the actual property landlord. Elias looked around the perfectly manicured green. His dark eyes showed profound, quiet disgust. "You demanded to know my business here today. You threw my honorable military cap into muddy water. You threatened to ruin a hard-working young student. You did all of this while trespassing illegally." Preston opened his mouth to speak quickly. Absolutely nothing came out of his dry throat. His vocal cords were paralyzed by intense fear. The wealthy club members began whispering very frantically. Some started backing away slowly toward the main clubhouse doors. Their expensive memberships were suddenly rendered worthless. The truth reached its most powerful peak right here. The man in the faded polo shirt held everything. The quiet, wandering veteran was the ultimate financial judge. The deep relief washed over the entire beautiful course. The expensive white golf cart sat abandoned nearby. The deep tire tracks ruined the perfect grass permanently. Preston looked down at the large, muddy scars. He had arrogantly destroyed the lawn he did not own. The sheriff folded the ancient document. He handed it safely back to the quiet, older veteran. The officer turned his stern gaze around. He looked directly at the shaken executive manager. The power dynamic had entirely shifted. The heavy gold Rolex could not buy legal protection today. The fine cashmere sweater offered zero actual protection. The ultimate symbol of American property rights defeated them. The wealthy country club illusion was completely shattered permanently. The rightful owner had finally returned to claim his earth. Elias Thorne finally broke his calculated silence. His deep voice resonated with absolute authority across the perfect green fairway. He stared directly into Preston's shaken eyes. "You clearly love giving strict orders," Elias stated flatly. "Let me give you some new orders right now. Take off your shiny brass name tag. Hand over the heavy master keys to the main clubhouse immediately. Surrender the operational keys to that ruined electric golf cart. Your employment at my private facility terminates exactly right this second. I am formally revoking your executive country club privileges permanently." Preston trembled hard from head to toe. He looked desperately toward the silent county sheriff for any legal protection. The seasoned police officer simply crossed his strong arms over his chest. He actively ignored the small, unspoken plea for help. "I will not legally sign the new 99-year commercial lease," Elias declared loudly. "I will immediately force a total club foreclosure this week. I will shut down this entire exclusive country club today. I will do it unless you surrender your executive authority right now." Preston swallowed a hard lump in his dry throat. His perfectly manicured fingers shook uncontrollably. He reached up toward his expensive pastel sweater. He slowly unpinned the shiny brass name tag from his lapel. The small metal piece felt heavy suddenly. He dropped it directly onto the soft, damp grass. "Now drop the keys," Elias ordered with zero hesitation. Preston reached deep into his expensive tailored pants pocket. He pulled out a large ring of heavy brass keys. They clinked loudly against each other. He tossed them weakly onto the ground. They landed next to the discarded name tag. His entire wealthy kingdom vanished completely. He possessed no power here anymore. The instant consequence hit him hard. Elias stepped closer to the trembling, defeated man. He did not yell or scream loudly in sudden victory. His deep voice remained calm and deeply unsettling. "You looked very closely at my faded green shirt today. You stared with pure hatred at my scuffed military boots. You decided my entire human worth based on shallow retail prices. You assumed my perceived social class made me entirely invisible. You thought your heavy gold watch granted you ultimate moral authority. You truly believed wealth gave you permission to mistreat working people. But you are empty inside that expensive cashmere sweater. True American value is never bought with a platinum credit card." The older veteran gestured slowly toward the surrounding green hills. The sprawling estate looked perfectly peaceful in the morning light. "My father did not inherit great wealth from his family. He worked tirelessly to protect this specific soil. He understood the profound difference between temporary money and permanent legacy. This entire beautiful valley was secured by years of physical sacrifice. It was actively defended by brave men serving in dangerous places far from home. Those young soldiers did not serve to protect your arrogant country club. They served to protect the fundamental American ideals of basic equality. They sacrificed everything so everyday citizens could live with simple dignity." Elias picked up the heavy brass keys from the damp grass. He held them firmly inside his deeply scarred right hand. "You disgraced that profound national sacrifice this morning. You openly mocked the very uniform that actively protects your freedom. You used your tiny sliver of corporate power to crush innocence. You humiliated a struggling young student trying to pay her debts. You represent the worst kind of cold elitist privilege. This sacred property will no longer tolerate your unkindness. Your small pattern of control ends permanently on my grass today." The stern county sheriff stepped past the older veteran. He placed his heavy hand firmly onto Preston's trembling shoulder. He did not use his silver metal handcuffs today. The public consequence of his own choices was punishment enough. "Start walking toward the main front exit," the sheriff commanded coldly. Preston looked desperately toward his expensive white electric golf cart. He wanted to escape this terrible moment very quickly. "You do not own that luxury vehicle anymore," Elias stated flatly. The former manager was asked to leave on foot. He had to cross the sprawling championship golf course alone. The mid-morning summer sun beat down hard now. It felt like a heavy physical weight, pressing him downward. The heat trapped inside his expensive clothing was instantly unbearable. He realized he was leaving his entire old life behind permanently. Preston took his first clumsy step forward. His perfect white leather golf shoes sank deeply into the mud. The expensive imported material was instantly ruined by dark, wet soil. He stumbled awkwardly across the perfectly manicured green grass. He looked exactly like a lost man. His pastel pink cashmere sweater felt hot and suffocating. Sweat poured aggressively down his flushed and panicked face. Every single step felt like a long, difficult walk. The distance to the main entrance looked impossibly long today. He previously drove across this beautiful valley in wealthy comfort. Now he felt the harsh physical reality of the working class. His heavy, solid gold Rolex watch slid uncomfortably down his sweaty wrist. It was just a useless piece of metal right now. It could not buy him a single ounce of basic human dignity. Pay close attention to what happens next. The hardest part of his terrible punishment was rapidly approaching. The long walking path led directly past the luxurious main clubhouse. Dozens of wealthy club members had gathered on the stone terrace. These were the exact same powerful people he worshipped daily. He had spent years desperately kissing their expensive, tailored boots. He wanted them to accept him into their exclusive high society. He rigidly enforced their harsh, unwritten rules of deep social segregation. Now they were watching his spectacular professional downfall live. Nobody offered him a single comforting word of basic human sympathy. They looked at him with cold disappointment. He was suddenly a problem they desperately wanted removed. Their silence cut much deeper than any loud, angry shouting could. He was abandoned by the wealthy circle he blindly served. Hundreds of glowing smartphone screens suddenly raised into the air. The rich country club patrons enthusiastically filmed his long walk. They recorded his public downfall today. The high-definition videos would undoubtedly spread across the global internet. His harsh behavior would be permanently exposed to the entire world. Future corporate employers would easily search his professional name. His hospitality career was destroyed in mere minutes. Preston tried to hide his crying face from the cameras. He tucked his chin deep into his damp, sweaty chest, but there was no safe place to hide his shame anymore. The bright morning sun exposed his wealthy hypocrisy perfectly. The loud, clicking sounds of expensive phone cameras echoed relentlessly everywhere. He was the main negative attraction in a public lesson. The police officer marched him steadily forward. They finally reached the wrought iron security gates. The metal doors swung open with a loud mechanical groan. The sheriff guided the disgraced manager onto the hard public sidewalk. The heavy iron gates slammed shut hard behind his back. A loud metallic locking sound echoed across the empty suburban street. Preston stood entirely alone on the dirty public concrete. He had no job and no valuable wealthy reputation. He was permanently exiled from his beloved wealthy fantasy kingdom. The country club simply erased his entire existence instantly. He stared back through the thick iron bars at the perfect green grass. Another anonymous worker was already quietly driving a fresh golf cart nearby. The wealthy machine simply swallowed his small absence and moved forward. The heavy iron gates slammed shut forever. Elias Thorne finally turned his complete attention away from the disgraced manager. He looked at his proud military cap floating in the muddy water hazard. The dark blue fabric was soaked and covered in dirty green algae. He slowly walked down the slight grassy embankment toward the water's edge. He did not ask the nearby police officer to retrieve it. He knelt down gracefully and reached his scarred hand into the cold water. He pulled the dripping wet hat out and brushed off the dirt carefully. He stood back up and looked directly at the young beverage cart driver. Chloe was still standing nervously near her small white electric cart. Her kind brown eyes were wide with absolute shock and total disbelief. She had bravely risked her only summer job to protect a silent stranger. Elias walked slowly across the damaged green fairway toward her. He offered her a very warm and deeply genuine grandfatherly smile. "You possess a genuinely remarkable and rare courage, young lady," Elias said softly. "You bravely stood up against a vicious and cold corporate bully today. You actively defended a poor old man when nobody else would." Chloe blushed deeply and looked down at her simple white uniform shoes. "I saw your proud Marine Corps pin, sir," Chloe whispered very quietly. "My older brother is currently deployed overseas with the 1st Infantry Division. He told me to always respect the men who proudly served before him." Elias nodded his head with profound understanding and deep emotional gratitude. "You mentioned you are currently drowning in heavy college student loans," Elias stated. "You desperately need this minimum wage job to survive the difficult fall semester. Effective immediately, you are now the new executive director of guest services here. I am personally doubling your current hourly salary and offering full medical benefits. I want you to redesign how we treat our valuable human staff. Nobody will ever aggressively snap their arrogant fingers at you again. You will never have to nervously swallow your proud dignity for simple tips. We are actively going to change this cold country club culture together." Chloe covered her mouth with her hands and began crying tears of relief instantly. The heavy financial burden began to lift from her young shoulders in mere seconds. Exactly 1 month later, the heavy wrought iron gates of Oak Ridge Country Club looked entirely different. The strict security checkpoint was dismantled by local construction workers. The old, intimidating brass signs demanding exclusive platinum memberships were removed and thrown away. The sprawling 300-acre property underwent a major cultural transformation almost overnight. It was no longer a cold sanctuary for the arrogant wealthy. Elias Thorne officially rewrote the entire operational charter of the estate. He established a strict new set of highly inclusive local community rules. Every single weekend, the perfect 18-hole championship course opened its doors free of charge. The expensive $200,000 initiation fee was instantly waived for specific honored guests forever. Active duty military personnel and brave retired combat veterans now owned the weekends entirely. Their proud families walked freely across the perfectly manicured green grass. They did not need a big bank account to enjoy the beautiful summer weather. The dark shadow of elitist segregation was permanently erased from the rich American soil. The strict and deeply oppressive dress codes were abolished forever. You no longer saw endless rows of pastel pink cashmere sweaters. The blinding white leather golf shoes were entirely replaced. Instead, the rich green fairways were filled with comfortable blue denim jeans. Heavy brown steel-toed work boots walked proudly beside the expensive white sand traps. Plain cotton t-shirts replaced stiff tailored button-down shirts everywhere. Children laughed loudly while running across the legendary 18th hole. The parking lot no longer resembled an expensive German luxury car showroom. Heavily used American family minivans parked comfortably next to old rusted pickup trucks. Scratched motorcycles sat exactly where sleek, silver Porsches used to idle. The heavy dark hardwood floors inside the main clubhouse handled muddy footprints daily. The expensive cloth napkins were swapped for practical thick paper towels. The deeply quiet and judgmental atmosphere was replaced by genuine human warmth. Smells of simple grilled hamburgers replaced the expensive seared butter and rosemary dishes. The fake corporate paradise was officially transformed into a real American community space. Elias returned to the exact same water hazard on a sunny Saturday afternoon. He did not drive a fancy customized golf cart. He walked slowly across the damp green grass on his own two tired feet. He wore the exact same faded green polo shirt. His black tactical military boots were perfectly scuffed as usual. He wore his dark blue cap with the bright golden Marine veteran lettering proudly. The damp fabric had dried perfectly after its brief, terrible swim in the muddy pond. He watched 3 generations of a local military family playing golf together cheerfully. An older retired Navy sailor waved respectfully at the quiet property landlord. Elias returned the friendly gesture with a small, deeply genuine smile. The sacred dirt finally served its highest and most honorable purpose. The rich valley truly belonged to the brave working-class people now. The ultimate American equalizer was restored to its rightful, humble glory today. The story of Oak Ridge Country Club leaves us with a quiet but powerful reminder. A person is never defined by the price of their shirt, the age of their shoes, the car they drive, or the title printed on a business card. Character is revealed in the small moments, when no one has promised us a reward, when kindness costs us a little comfort, and when someone vulnerable needs another human being to stand nearby. Chloe did not know Elias owned the land. She did not know he was a decorated colonel. She did not know her simple bottle of water would change the direction of her life. She only saw an older man being treated without dignity, and she chose compassion before convenience. That is the kind of courage the world needs more of. Not loud courage, not performative courage, quiet courage. The kind that steps forward gently and says, "This person matters too." Preston's mistake was not only that he judged the wrong man. His deeper mistake was believing that status could replace decency. He thought money made him important, but money without humility becomes a very lonely kind of power. He thought control made him respected, but respect can never be forced. It is earned by the way we treat people when they have nothing to offer us in return. And Elias showed us something just as important. Strength does not always shout. Sometimes strength waits. Sometimes it listens. Sometimes it allows the truth to stand up on its own. He did not need to insult Preston back. He did not need to become the same kind of man who had hurt him. He simply let his actions, his history, and his integrity speak louder than anger ever could. So maybe the lesson is simple, but it is worth carrying into everyday life. Be careful how you judge people. Be even more careful how you treat them. The person standing quietly in front of you may carry a story you cannot see, a sacrifice you do not understand, and a value that no amount of wealth could ever measure. Choose kindness before pride. Choose responsibility before power. Choose forgiveness when it can heal, and choose accountability when it can protect others. Because every community becomes better when ordinary people refuse to make cruelty feel normal. One respectful word, one brave choice, one small act of compassion can open a gate that has been closed for far too long. If this story touched your heart, take its message with you. Treat the server, the worker, the veteran, the stranger, the quiet person in the corner, and the person who cannot help you climb any ladder with the same dignity you would give to someone powerful. That is where real character begins. And that is how a place built on pride can become a home built on respect. The smallest act of decency can change more than we think.